Alrighty, so here we are at Mount Buller. We're going to hit up the Epic Trail, 40 kilometre trail, 900 metre descent downhill. Unloading all the bikes, 6 of us, all jammed in the van. Alright, here we go. Epic Trail begins. We are at Mount Buller. Marvellous Mount Buller, the Victorian Alps, the ski resort in the winter time, mountain biking retreat in the summer. I'm here of course with the famous Nerd. He's going to get us lost. Have a look at that.
Yeah, not a bad view.
That's epic. How many times are we going to use that today? Alright, off we go.
And right there you just witnessed me losing connection with my microphone. I must have a dodgy wire in the adapter for the GoPro, and all this commentary I did along the way, gone, lost, out in the mountains, still floating around there somewhere, never to be seen again. So you've got a bit of a commentary here from me, a bit of a voiceover, a bit of warning here if you're going to do the Epic Trail. The first initial stages close to the resort are not signposted that well. So not far out from the resort of Mount Buller, just a little bit along the Epic Trail, is this skills part. We all had a bit of a go at certain things, and well, just highlighted how unskilled most of us really were. Bit of fun though, lots of laughs, and a good addition to the track. And right there we have Nerd taking the first spill of the ride within the first 15-20 minutes of the ride. Didn't take him long. The Epic is epic for more than one reason. It's epic because it is epic, but it's also classified as epic by the International Mountain Biking Association. The IMBA classify only a certain amount of tracks around the world as epic. And this one is the first one outside of North America to be given that classification. It's bloody epic, bloody hard. It was incredibly hard. It's definitely the most difficult mountain bike ride that I have ever done. But it was also the most rewarding and the most enjoyable. It's absolutely amazing. The scenery was incredibly stunning. The downhills were fast and flowing, sometimes technical, but those uphill sections were hard. We had so many uphill ascents, particularly in the first part, that we ended up having to walk the bikes for much of it. As you see here, we were walking time and time again. It was just so many tight switchbacks, and if you didn't get your gearing right, or if you hit a little rock, you just lost momentum, bang, you were stuck walking up the hill until you come to another flat section and you could bite again. That was incredibly draining on your energy levels when you just kept losing momentum over and over again. But you know, it was still incredibly enjoyable. Even though it was hard, it was difficult, I loved every minute of it, and I knew it was going to be worth it. I knew the feeling of accomplishment of doing this and finishing it was going to be totally worth it. I nearly had my head ripped off here. It doesn't look much, but I'll tell you what, it was enough to rip my head back with a vicious jolt. So much so that I had to check and just make sure my camera was still there. So a little bit about the Epic Trail. It's officially 40 kilometres in distance, although we did 45.3 kilometres. Riding time, they say, is between 4 to 7 hours, depending on your ability. It took us about 7 hours to do it, but we had a moving time of 4 hours and 51 minutes. It's a high elevation trail which takes a lot out of you. The highest point on the track is 1,650 metres. So that's a long way above the sea level, so that takes it out of you when you're not used to that high elevation. I could keep making excuses all day. I could go on and on and on. Like the fact that it was just after Christmas and we'd all indulged a little bit. We'd eaten too much, maybe drank a little bit too much. We hadn't exercised nearly enough. I know I hadn't done any riding of this calibre in a long time. So it was a bit of a struggle out there, but it was totally worth it. The scenery was incredible. The people, friends made on the day, amazing. The only drama we had on the day was one of us had an issue with his brakes, so we had to stop in and get that fixed, which you'll see a little bit later on, but we stopped for that.
Bush Mechanics 101. We've done 13.9 according to this. That's it. Got to get the Instagram photo.
Yes, Herb was not the only one to crash.
I was just taking a seat. Oh, my legs are rest. My legs working as a rear suspension. Getting a little bit sore. Calves burning. I had a bug in my eye back there, and all of a sudden it started watering. I could only see out of one eye. That was good.
This downhill section here to Telephone Box Junction was our first real taste of a long stretch of downhill, and it was awesome along a wide road and then onto the main road itself, right down to the cafe, restaurant, bike repair and shop.
Were you filming that? I did it for you!
Alright, so we just come flying down that hill there, about 5k's from the top. Come to a little cafe here, Mount Sterling Cafe. Bit of a stop off on the way. I think we're about 19k's into the Epic Trail. And so far, it's epic. Routed already. Not even halfway. Already knackered. Alright, the others have just gone ahead of me a little bit. I forgot to plug my microphone in, so I thought I'd better do that. We've got 11 kilometres to go, apparently, if it is 40 kilometres. According to Strava, we've done 29 kilometres. We are all absolutely rooted. We are so tired already. This is epic for a reason. It's fucking hard. It's not downhill. You think you start at the ski resort at the top, it's going to be mostly downhill. There's a shitload of uphill. It's not all downhill like this, and most of the downhill was not smooth like this either. Rocky as crap.
Ah yes, there I go, losing my audio once again, which is a shame, but oh well, here I go, bit of a voiceover time again. So I was talking about how rocky the downhills were. Well, that was mainly in the upper, higher elevation, earlier stages of the Epic Trail. The later stages, the real downhill stuff, the reward at the end of all that hard work was absolutely incredible. So smooth, so fast, so flowing, tight turn after tight turn. Oh man, it was the best riding I've ever done. But your arms ache, your legs ache just through being suspension the whole way, because I've only got a hardtail mountain bike and the suspension at the front probably not the best for this sort of riding. Oh man, I was copping it, but geez, the grin on my face the whole way down was just amazing. Oh, I wish the commentary had worked, because I was letting out some squeals and all sorts of things coming out of me, I tell you. So the downhill, amazing. The distance of that last downhill is 8 kilometres long of just pure downhill with an elevation drop of 687 metres. Amazing. So much fun. Totally worth the hard work to get there. It topped it off really nicely. It was just so incredible. And the scenery changed throughout the whole epic, from being more high elevation countryside at the top with your, your alpine plants, and the trees were a bit more sparse, and then you come down into the wooded forest at the lower elevation and into the rainforesty parts, and then at the end here we pop out on a road, and the last few kilometres were all downhill on this really fast road before we go along a river towards the finish point. It was really pretty scenery along the river, but I'd run out of battery by that stage. which I was completely bummed about. The scenery along the river was amazing. And here I am at the finish, absolutely exhausted.
The aftermath. We're all absolutely, completely, utterly knackered.
Well, we went off, goddamn fast.